let's have fun with this for a minute. And let's look at all the places where Paul teaches the law of God. This gentleman claims that Galatians is Paul telling the Galatians, you are perverting the gospel if you go back to the law of God. That is not the context of Galatians. That is his bad understanding of it. What does Paul actually teach? 1 Timothy 1, 8 through 11. Now that we know the law is good if one uses it legitimately, the Pharisees were not using it legitimately. We realize that law is enacted for the right, is not enacted for the righteous. Why? Because the word righteous means you're already doing the law. It means you already know how to behave. But a law is enacted means it's put into force because people are not behaving. So technically it doesn't apply to the righteous. If you already know all the law and you're doing it faithfully, scriptures call you righteous. We see that all over the scriptures. Verse 9, we realize that the law is enacted for the righteous, is not enacted for the righteous, but for the lawless and the rebellious, for the ungodly and the sinful. These are people not acting like God. They're ungodly. Just by actual basic deduction, we would know that means that you are doing the law and acting godly. By the inverse of this statement from deduction, we would see that if you're ungodly and sinful by being rebellious and lawless, that means if you're lawful and obedient, then you're godly and not sinful. This is exactly what we're told in the Psalms. The behavior of God is his commandments. It's that simple. It's the law. For the ungodly and sinful, for the unholy, that's directly out of Leviticus 11:44, and the profane, that's out of Leviticus 21:7. Paul's teaching the law right here to Timothy. Timothy was in charge of these churches, and that Paul was the apostle over Timothy and helping him become a good pastor to these churches. Paul's teaching the law right here to Timothy. Timothy, to my understanding, wasn't he over Ephesus? Put it in the chat if I'm getting that wrong, guys. It's right next to Galatia. So it goes on to say, for it's the law is for ungodly and sinful, for the unholy, for the profane, for the killers of fathers or mothers. That's in Exodus 20:12. For murderers, that's in Exodus 20, verse 13. For the sexually immoral, that's Exodus 34:15. For homosexuals, that's Leviticus 18:22. Slave traders, Deuteronomy 24:7. Liars, Leviticus 19:11. Perjurers, Exodus 20, verse 16. And for anyone else who is averse to sound teaching that agrees with the glorious gospel of the blessed God, which I've been entrusted. Right here, guys. So just to show you, this is Paul literally telling Timothy that this wonderful gospel that he's going around preaching to Galatia and Thessalonica and the Corinthians and the Ephesians, he's telling Timothy, he's directly equating sound teaching with this blessed gospel and the law of God being done properly, legitimately. Right here, 1 Timothy 1. And to ignore this is to literally put on the blinders. And this literally tells you, all these other bad behaviors are listed in the law. This is against the law. This is rebellious and sinful behavior, ungodly behavior. And these type of people, if anyone else who is averse to sound teaching, they'll do these types of behaviors. So that just by natural deduction, that means sound teaching is the opposite of these behaviors, which is to do what's right, to do the fruit of the Spirit he mentions in Galatians 5. The things which against those wonderful fruits, there's no law. There is a law against these bad behaviors. This is why these people doing these bad behaviors need a law. They need to learn how to live right. They need to learn what right behavior is. Sound teaching is the law of God. Paul's telling Timothy right here. And it agrees with the glorious gospel that he's been entrusted with.